Okay, hey guys, so I'm going to show you all of my brushes, starting with the cheaper brushes. So these brushes are all from the Jaxhair line. I got these because somebody suggested that they are really good quality synthetic brush. I do not like these brushes. I don't even feel like they were worth the price in getting them. I don't think they're probably very widely available outside of Germany, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend getting these even in Germany. I use them occasionally, more or less for cleaning purposes. I actually use this a lot for cleaning my palette, which is why the hairs are like this. But yeah, I don't actually use these brushes for any painting. I almost never use these bristles. I think I might use one of these for masking fluid, Jaxhair. Next, these are KORNELL. I got these in the US from some kind of multi-pack. You can see the hair is pre-cut. These could be worse. These are better than the Jax ones, actually. Still don't use these. I honestly do not even know what possibly could have happened to this one, but abuse, I suppose. I have a whole range of them. They're pretty okay for the price. I never use these either. Yeah. Then there are these. These are the DAVINCI Junior brushes, and these are my favorite dirt cheap brushes. They have not failed me yet. This is my brush that I use every day. My sturdy little mixer brush. I love it. I feel so sad. I've abused it so much, but I love this brush. And I feel like these brushes are really good and sturdy, and they feel nice in the hand. And for the price, they have really good application. So these DAVINCI Junior Synthetics, which are really cheap, I feel like these are a really good deal. So that's it for my super duper cheap brushes. We're going to be moving into slightly more expensive ones. So I'm going to start with this. Actually, I think this is just as cheap, if not cheaper, than the Junior. This is DAVINCI Hobby Brush. It's a flat, one of the few flats that I own. I use this for lifting. It's a little soft for lifting, but it doesn't damage the paper, so this is cool. This is a Jaxhair brand I Love Art brush. I cut the end off to make a little scrubber brush for myself, and so this was a regular filbert or a flat, and I just cut the bristles, and that makes it really sturdy. And so if you really need to scrub something off of paper, this basically makes like an eraser brush for you. It will kill your paper, but it will for sure get that paint off. This is a ROWNEY System 3 1/4 inch sword that I got. I use it for gouache. I think it's meant for gouache, acrylics, or anything like that. It does not hold very much water, but that's kind of perfect. And the shape makes you much more likely to be really inventive, I feel like, and painterly when painting in gouache. I really like it. I want to get a couple more and a couple more sizes. And I like that it doesn't hold very much water, so you don't have that issue of treating gouache a little bit too much like watercolor. These are my DAVINCI COSMOTOP spins. This is not the Mix B. These I think are just synthetic, size 1 and size 6. I really love these. These are my favorite synthetic brushes. You can tell that I actually still use them fairly often. They're dirty, the labeling is coming off. I really like these. They hold a good amount of water. They're quite soft. They have a reasonably okay point, and they hold them. They haven't curled. That's the problem that I always have with synthetic brushes, that eventually the tips curl, and these tips have not curled, which is like black magic. So 100% recommend these. If I were only to use synthetic brushes at the moment, these are the ones I would use. I know that there's supposed to be a lot of really cool ones in America, but I haven't tried them. This is my DAVINCI Forte Basic Humongous Flat Brush. I use these for washes. It has like nice give. It hasn't rusted on me yet, and it puts down huge washes of water really easily. I got this before I got any of my mop brushes. Now any one of my natural hair mop brushes I think holds about as much water as this does, but this is really cool. These are the Escoda BAROCCO synthetic brushes. Escoda is a company from Spain. I don't use these brushes very often, but I could imagine that they would be perfect for somebody who wants a slightly stiffer brush. They're not as soft as I would like them to be, although sometimes I use this one when I'm painting in gouache because it is slightly stiffer and because it is quite thin. I mostly only use this brush when I am too lazy to clean my cloths and tops and I need another clean brush. Sometimes it's nice for gouache. I wouldn't really use it a lot for watercolor myself. Overall, I feel like I'm pretty disappointed in the Escoda brushes. I know some people really like them, but I haven't had great luck. So this looks really similar to the Escoda. I thought it was an Escoda at first. Yeah, it has like the exact same finish actually. But it's not an Escoda, it is a DAVINCI. This is the DAVINCI Nova synthetics, and these are made to be quite hard. This is, oh, it's super tiny. I didn't even realize how tiny it is. What size is this? This is a size 000. These are the kind of brushes that I used to use all the time because I thought that buying a 000 was the only way to get a super fine point. But if you have really high quality brushes, you don't need to buy a 000. But I still use this sometimes for gouache, very rarely though. You can tell that's super tiny. This is my finger, this is the brush. It's small. This is okay. I mean, I've never bought a DAVINCI brush that I didn't like, honestly. So this is a DAVINCI Forte, which is similar to this big brush. It's the same line as this big brush that I have here. This is really hard. This is such a hard brush. I don't know. I was just trying out brushes, and now I know what they mean by Forte. It's definitely, it's strong. It is too hard for most uses I have for it. If you need a really hard, stiff brush, this is a really good one. So this is for sure the line that I would say, in terms of what I've experienced from American brands, that I think is really nice. I use this was like my gouache brush before I brought other brushes. I think I just did everything in this brush. And that is why the top is so frayed now. I can barely use it for anything. Just wet it a little bit so you can see the shape. Yeah, you can see that's some sadness right there. I just used all of that brush up. But this lasted such a long time through a lot of reviews, really nicely. Simply Simmons is so cheap in the US and just so durable. I would definitely buy some more of these. And this is PROARTE Sword. I got it Cornell's in London. I know it's got a kind of funny curving shape because I put a lot of gum arabic on it when I was traveling to make sure that the point didn't get broken. But this brush is really nice. I don't know if you guys have ever seen a sword like this before, where you can get really nice tree lines, grass, calligraphic strokes, branches, eyelashes, fur. This is really great for fur. Part of the thing is, it works like there are these round brushes that have a line going through them with an extended point. This kind of works like that, so you can use the very, very tip, but the rest of it acts like a reservoir, so you don't have to keep dipping it in paint over and over again. So this is like a really great brush. I don't use it often, but when I do, I'm really happy that I have it. So now we're moving on to my natural hair brushes. And I keep all of my brushes in these not pickle jar this time, olives, aha. But often pickle jars. So these are two Japanese brushes that I have from my husband just because he didn't want them. And sometimes I like to use them. Let's start with the brushes that I use nearly all of the time. I'm trying to get them from around my desk because that's how often I use them, to collect them. These are my Kolibri KOLINSKY Sable brushes. Let me see if I find a size that I have not used so much that the label has worn off. This is a 00. You can see how fine it is. That is a super tiny point. I almost never need a point like that, so that is the reason why you can actually see the information on this brush. So a 00 Kolibri Golden Sable KOLINSKY, Golden Star KOLINSKY. This is actually made by a small family company in Germany, and they're way cheaper than buying from any of the big marks, and they are really, really high quality for what you get. Can't really get them from any of the big box stores. You have to buy them from smaller stores, but I'm really happy that I learned about them because these are brushes that I don't really have to worry about as much damaging because they're so much cheaper. They hold a point for a really long time. You can see that they all have really nice points. I really love working on them. There's a couple of them that started getting a teensy bit mushy on me, but overall, yeah, I think this one here, this doesn't have as sharp a point as it used to, but it's still pretty sharp. And that's after using basically every day for several years. And as you can see, not cleaning maybe the best. I really love these. This here is a Raphael. Oh, actually, this is not a Sable. This is an imitation Sable. It's not a really great imitation Sable. I use this sometimes on my gouache when I need a kind of Sable-ish brush. It's quite small, but mostly don't really like the point that it has. Raphael makes amazing brushes. This just doesn't happen to be one I was really impressed with. This is the Raphael Precision line. I don't know. I wasn't really impressed by it. This brush and this brush are also by Kolibri. This is the Kolibri Finest Mix, and this is the Kolibri... Oh, no information. I don't use both of these brushes. This was supposed to be a different shape. It did not end up being that shape. You can see it's a filbert. And it's just kind of mushy and it doesn't really hold very much water. It's not actually, it's some kind of natural hair mix. So it's not really that useful. And this is a kind of just mushy square Sable. It does not have a really sharp line. So these are two brushes I don't ever use, unfortunately. More expensive brushes that I use all the time. So, well, except for these. This is the DAVINCI COSMOTOP Mix B. I have it in size 8 and 10 because I didn't want to buy Sables in that size. I hardly ever use them, and to be honest, I wish I did not get these. Personally, I feel like the mixture between Sable and Squirrel and these was not really, and you can see these are covered in dust because I never use them. The mixture between Squirrel and Sable in these was not as soft as Squirrel. It doesn't hold as much water. It doesn't have the same kind of snap as Sable. They don't have a good tip. They have a kind of mushy tip. So personally, I feel like, I mean, you can probably be fine with just having the synthetic Cosmotops instead of getting these. I wouldn't do this again. This is a Escoda RESERVA. So actually, I really didn't like this at first. It came to me messed up. I don't know what was wrong with it, but there was something wrong with it. And since I could not use it at all, I just tried the hot water trick, and that worked. Now the point actually is okay. I use this for gouache. I don't really use it for watercolors, but I can use it for watercolors if I need this kind of point, or I'm too lazy to clean my other brushes. This one is okay. So this is the first Sable brush that I got, and I just got one because I had just bought a bunch of higher end synthetics, and I wanted just to try because I heard everybody saying, oh, Sables are so great, and I really didn't believe them. I was just thinking people were saying this because it's expensive and it's fancy and there's probably not very much utility to it. But I got one because it was on a really good discount and I fell in love with it. And so now basically what I use is Sables, and I'm really happy because I used to buy brushes a lot and get rid of them because they would lose their points. I have not had to do that since then. So I have in the DAVINCI Maestro line, I have the size 6 and the size 4, both very worn. And I have two different versions. I'm not sure if it says here. One of them is the extra long and one of them is the regular length one. And I love them both and I use them all the time. This, which has absolutely no name on it at all anymore, is a Leonard brush actually. And I feel like that's the best kept secret in brushes, at least for non-French people. These were such a good price and such good quality. I really thought that it was going to be terrible quality because the price was so low. I love this brush. I really, really do. It is so great. But unfortunately, I can't tell you which one it is because there's absolutely no information, but I do know that it is a Leonardo KOLINSKY brush. This is a humongous KOLINSKY Sable mob that my husband got me, I think for my birthday. This is the DAVINCI Artissimo in size 2. It is humongous. You can wet a whole paper with this. I've never been cut on the ferrule. It's so much fun to work with. It has great snap. It has a really fine point considering how big it is. It's an amazing brush. So this was my first mop brush. This was a Leonardo. This is DAVINCI RO Petit Gris Pur. This is a squirrel mop. This does not actually have a good point, which is normal among squirrel mops, but I do like that this part of the ferrule does not hurt. They're really well tied off. I haven't had any hairs from either of these mops coming out. They're very high quality. I use this pretty often. It gives a really, really soft line. I really like using it. It's not Leonardo. I keep saying Leonardo. It's Leonard. And this is my one most favorite brush, Raphael 8408. This is just, I got one and I got it in the size 0 because it's so expensive. But I think when I first used it, I just fell in love. The snap is amazing. It gives such a beautiful fine point, the thicks, the thins, like I don't even know how to explain. I love this brush and I would love to have a full range of these, but I have no reason to buy more brushes right now. As you can see, I have a lot of brushes. But I could see myself definitely getting smaller versions of this for really fine detailed work. But this, basically this 0 covers me for basically everything because the tip is so fine. It's amazing. I'm constantly worried that I will damage it. I have not damaged it yet. I love this brush. So now I'm going to show you my travel brushes. So these are the PROARTE travel brushes. They come in a leatherette case in a set of 3 and they kind of look like bullets. They're called the Midas Touch, and I mean, it's pretty cheesy. The brushes are pretty okay. I prefer using real brushes instead of water brushes. They hold a lot of water actually for a synthetic brush. They're pretty big sizes. I really wanted a travel flat, so this was one of the only ways to get it, and it made a lot more sense to get it in the set than to get it by itself in terms of the pricing. And I love using these. These are really fun. I haven't had any problems with them. They hold water nicely. They release pigment nicely. They're a lot softer, even than the COSMOTOPs. They're really great brushes to work with. I like working with them with gouache as well. They're really great for gouache. And this is my DAVINCI travel brush. It's a DAVINCI Maestro. This was also a gift from my husband. This is a size 4 and it has a different mechanism. And I love that it's so cute and tiny. And I have just absolutely abused this brush. I have not treated this brush nicely. And it still holds a point. It still works exactly the way that it should. So I think that is definitely a testimony to this brush. I've sometimes not cleaned this brush. I just ram it into paint. I just don't care. And it's perfectly fine. It's amazing. And this is my fan brush, which I got only to do a tutorial about brushes. And I now use basically to brush away eraser shavings. So there. So I hope that you guys enjoyed seeing my brush collection, and maybe you saw some brushes that you've never heard of before or that might be useful to you. If you have any questions, ask them in the description below. Are there any brushes that you think that I should try? I'm actually thinking about what American brushes I might want to try. Let me know. If you haven't seen yet, I have my trailer for my Skillshare class up on the channel, and I will have a link below. It's all about how to paint portraits. I go through everything step by step, covering any questions that you could have. Definitely go check it out. My $10 and above patrons are getting it for free, and I think that it's a really fun course. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Talk to you guys next time. Bye!